the Deni Avdija part because we discussed him. And just to be clear, we see his name a lot there in the chat. Derek brought him up. And we did discuss him at the start of the show, more of that would be somebody that we would have interest in. The contract is very good. He's a player that can do multiple things out there on the floor. He can handle the ball, play with his back to the basket if he needs to, shoot over the smaller defender with the height advantage that he does have. Defensively, decent enough, especially not having to be the guy as a defender. But you would also think that Washington might want to continue to build with him versus some of the other older players that they have. So why would it be so difficult for some people who want him in there? We have to mention it because we're talking about Washington. We're not looking at Jordan Poole. It's probably only going to be Deni Avdija or Kyle Kuzma. So why would it be so difficult to acquire him? What would you look at it as Washington really just wants to keep it going with him?
Well, one, he's much younger, right? I believe he's only 23 and he'll be 24 next January. He's on a very affordable, team-friendly contract over that time. After signing an extension, I believe it was in late October last year, he then had by far his best individual season ever. Best shooting season,
really
over 37% from three, was a better playmaker this year, was just like a higher volume offensive player for them. On top of he's got some defensive versatility, good size, can defend several positions, all that. And
can rebound, can create a little off the bounce.
All of that on a team that, like, as we're saying, hey, Kyle Kuzma was just, out for shots and out for this and out for that on that team. Like, Deni, for the most part, still seemed like he was about the right things, like is not taking crazy shots, is trying to do the little things that contribute to winning. And that's why, especially a team like Washington that's trying to build this from the ground up and wants to have some semblance of culture as they, try to reload through the draft and the various means, it's not somebody they're going to give up lightly. So he's probably going to require, if they were to move him at all, he's going to require an overpay. And I don't think a 23-year-old role player, even one who's good, is somebody the Sixers are in the business of overpaying. If they're going to overpay with picks, they're going to overpay for either star-level talent at the highest possible tier, or it's going to be someone slightly below that tier that fits their age timeline a little bit better. And I would also say, even though he had his best three-point shooting season last year, that is the outlier, and he also has pretty low volume on his threes. Like, he only took about 3 a game last year, and how much do you
he'll
trust
have
it?
some pretty wild left-right misses. Like, there's some inconsistency for sure. No, when I brought him up, it's less of he should be a target, because I do think, to Kyle's point, you'd probably have to overpay to get him. And with the Sixers in a star-hunting mode, even if his salary is low, giving up multiple first-round picks for him would be tough to then go out and have the flexibility to make the moves that we know Daryl is looking to make. It's more like that's the kind of archetype of role player. If we are going the role player route, that's more of the kind of style of player I would look for than someone like Kuzma. Not necessarily like I think they can get him or he should be a target, because I agree with Kyle's general point that you would have to overpay for him because they are in no rush to move him.
Oh, he's a good player, man. I mean, just a really good player in a bad situation in Washington. And if you can somehow convince them, again, sometimes in these situations,
I should have known Phil W. would be a Kuzma guy. Very on brand.
When you go to look at Washington, again, just laying out what their organization is, they are a bad organization. Can you take advantage of that organization and maybe get something out of them? And you win that trade, you win that deal. Is that possible? Of course, we don't know right now because they have the number 2 overall pick. They selected another nice player last year in the lottery, Bilal Coulibaly. Solid player.
That's your boy, man.
Nice player.
A lot about Coulibaly. Nice Devon
player
over the last year.
But he and Deni Avdija, together, plus whatever they do at the number 2 pick, that could be a building block for them. And that's why you shift over to the Kyle Kuzma piece. Nobody's taking Jordan Poole, at least for right now. No. So you're stuck with him. So can they add to that, get that 3rd pick there in the first round? And what are they trying to do with that? Are they keeping it? Are they trying to get something else to come into Washington?
The gears are turning on my head. I wonder if they were to get a 3rd first and consider that they have control of other stuff moving forward, do you think they could be a Trae Young suitor. That they got a couple with young wings, like guys on the, and then if you can get any kind of big in there.
That's just so nasty and dirty. Him and Jordan Poole in the backcourt together.
Listen,
oh my God!
I know, but I'm saying, look, I'm trying to look at it from Washington's perspective. Like if you're trying to just load up on firsts in a kind of bad draft, are you loading up on those because you actually want those firsts, or because you're trying to turn those plus future capital?
I get you
into a guy who, for whatever his flaws are, would do a lot of things that they need from the playmaking and all that.
Oh, that's nasty. Oh, that's some nasty basketball to watch.
Well, listen, that Jordan Poole is not starting with him if that happens. You bench him and you say goodbye. And if you don't like it, you can sit your ass at home.
that would be something. Yeah, Trae Young in Washington. I mean, look, as far as the ticket goes, you need those.
And you know
Washington
they're always
fans.
concerned about that.
Yeah, you need someone, especially after trying to move the team to another part of the DMV. You want to try to sell tickets, and could you do something like that to pull in Trae Young? Potentially, yeah, because I don't see where you're going to get any of those other names. I just don't. Yeah, I don't see any other potential. Or even like,
what about DeJounte? Maybe if we're saying that Trae is going to stay there,
that's a better fit.
You get I would say defensive-minded guard, but I've said on the show, and plenty of other people who paid closer attention to the Hawks have said as much. DeJounte was horrible defensively last year. I know he had his moments in San Antonio, like was at that like all defense type level, and people have set. Once you have a reputation as a good defender, it's hard to shake that, even if you're playing poorly. Again, we'd have to see if that's contextual, but if you put DeJounte next to the likes of Coulibaly, Deni, those guys, maybe you start building something there.
We all silly like the mayor.